Welcome to On the Slab Horror Show with me, Ian the Dynamo Kelly, and the king himself, Mr. Carl King Woe.
Whoa.
Welcome back, Carl.
How are you?
Hit me, brother.
Are you keeping good?
I'm really well, man. I'm really well. Some nice feedback after last week's show. Probably not at the numbers that we want them to be. So everybody that enjoyed the previous shows, please give it a chance. And plus, I think where we're at with last week's show, where we talked about Loftus Hall and Hellfire Club, a lot of people around the world are probably going, "Whoa, well, this isn't a movie." I don't know, but
yeah,
check it out.
We're trying stuff out. We're trying to give you a bit of variety with our show. So
different flavor, man. Different flavor.
But we're back to the movies tonight.
We are back to the movies tonight, and we've actually we've come up with a great movie. Well, Carl's come up with a great movie this week because we do take turns, as you all know, and it was Carl's turn this time, and he decided to choose
The Silence of the Lambs.
1991, wasn't it?
Yes, it was indeed.
Yeah, and it's actually. Wow, what a choice, because we kind of chose this today.
Yeah.
And I was kind of going, shit, do I need to go back and watch that or research it? And then I realized, no, I don't. I'm going to give you a funny little fact about myself. Do you remember when it's all going to link together and you realize how I was that little bastard growing up? And sneaking around watching shit. Like I was like Randy Marsh, you know, when he comes down during the guitar episode, and he's like sneaking down the stairs in his white jocks, and he's like,
back up the stairs.
Yeah, I found this movie, believe it or not, in VHS, of course. Found this movie, and I used to be allowed kind of go up into the uncle's room when I was allowed out in the parents at the weekend. And again, guys, ladies and gentlemen, when you're watching these shows, you're always going to hear nostalgia with me and Carol when we talk about this. That's what we're trying to do. You may as well call this the video store. You know what I mean? We could have called it On the Slab Video Store, because that's what we're doing. We're bringing you back to a time that meant a lot to us. And if you like it, if you dig it, great. If you don't, well, look, that's fair enough too. But so I found this VHS of, Silence of the Lambs, and I'd seen it for a long time, and it just, with the whole butterfly over, Clarice's face, I was kind of going, Jodie Foster's face, actually, and I was kind of going, I didn't see this. And I watched it, and I wasn't the better for it. Like, I was like, what the fuck did I just watch? You're thinking, like, what, 12 years old watching this film. And I remember when I told my auntie, and I was like, yeah, like, have you ever seen Silence of the Lambs? They're like, where did you see that? And I was like, well, here. But it's a great film. But it turned out they were actually kind of okay with it, because there's not much in it in terms of, it's more of a psychological thriller / horror, isn't it? Like, I mean, there's some violence in it, but there's no sexual scenes.
No. It's employed in certain parts for the attacks, but you don't. But
as a 12-year-old, you wouldn't really be thinking of that. You know what I mean? No. What about you, Carol? Your first experience with this movie, obviously, you would have been a bit older than me.
So a bit older than you. I would have been I think I was about 14 when that came out first, and what I remember is, see, my mom used to get, do you remember you used to be able to get the copied VHS tapes? The lads that go around with the big bag, and you'd pick one out.
They come around to the house. Yeah.
So we got that, and again, like, it's not a horror per se. It's not actually classed as a horror per se, but there's so many horror elements in it, which is why we're including it in our show. And
I think so.
Again, one of the all these films that I'm going to pick out for the foreseeable future anyway are films that left an impact on me and stayed with me for all my life. So, like, this one, like, everything about it was just as perfect as you can get for that type of film and for that time as well. So I watched it as a 14-year-old and with my mom. because she
That's
didn't
cool.
mind watching a few things like that. Now, don't get me wrong, we didn't watch sex things or anything like that, but she didn't mind me watching horror films. You know,
Oh,
like
sex scenes when you're a kid, you just literally wanted to fold
yeah,
up into the couch, and you just like,
yeah. Like
nothing to do, I'm not looking.
I watched me first Nightmare on Elm Street with my ma as well. So
Oh, nice, nice.
yeah,
Which will be covered eventually.
absolutely,
And also, shout out to Retrotainment who covered it recently.
absolutely. Greg and Ted, the boys.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of crossovers, I think, with us and them because we're fighting the
Oh, there
same
will
fight.
be. Absolutely, man. But no, yeah, I feel you with that. I was the same. As I said, for me, it was always me and my granny, believe it or not.
I would believe it, yeah.
That watched horrors together. And then when I would be out in Finglas, I would be, I'd be allowed to watch a certain horror or two.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, sticking with the topic at hand, I felt with this movie, like I say, I remember this movie so well that I didn't need to go and research it. And that's not like, oh, slap on the back to me. It's just the impact that it had, actually. Yeah. And I've seen it that many times since. Like, even the way it opens in a very, very dark way in general. There's a very dark feel to this film, I think. There's no real breathing room. I think, you know, in certain movies, it gives you a little bit of moment to gather your thoughts and kind of, they might have a comedic element in there or something just to make you feel a little bit better. No, this is very, very dark. Like, it obviously, it's one of those, even when you see Clarice and she's doing her training at the FBI campus, it's still very grainy and dark. You know what I mean? It's a very sinister feel from start to finish on this, isn't it?
I think time has aged it. You know the way sometimes like films don't age well. I think I think the aging of this film adds to the atmosphere of it. And again, I only watched it today again because I love it. And I had the whole house to myself and I watched the film on my own, no distractions, and it was class. Again, just watching it again and, you know, the little parts that I know and all this kind of stuff, you know. But yeah, I was just like, and I got an even bigger appreciation for another character who we'll chat about later on, but we'll start as we're starting, you know. So
yeah, I mean, it's kind of like it's a slow burn, but it isn't. I mean, like, in the sense of Clarice is kind of the up and comer. Now with names, you're going to have to help me here with it, because that's where I've kind of that's where my research didn't come into play. But I don't really need to know the names per se to know the characters. But her boss, basically,
Jack Crawford,
exactly. He knows that she's got potential. You know what I mean? And I think Jodie Foster was a very underrated actor too, actually, personally.
Very much so.
And she's kind of very, very all about the job, career woman. And it starts, I'll hand this over to you now, because it starts where, you know, she's looking at murder cases and stuff like that. And, you know, it's not, people expect it to just automatically be about Hannibal Lecter, but it's really not.
No.
It's more about this killer Buffalo Bill that she hands over. And I know you want to talk about Big Buff, so I'll hand this over to you. The best heels in movie history.
Oh my god, like that's it. Like, I want to just kind of give a special mention to Ted Levine, who played Buffalo Bill, and
great actor.
Yeah, everybody. I mean, I think Anthony Hopkins was on the screen for 16 minutes or something like that. But if you look at everything that Ted Levine does in that film as James Gunn, he is spot on. He did his homework to the very, very point, and it's a joy to watch, I suppose you could say. But just everything he does, I mean, he went.
He's got that voice, you know, that voice, man.
And I wouldn't mind, like he was saying, like I was reading up there. Obviously, he went to some bars to look at transsexuals and gay guys, and to try and get a feeling for, like, you know, what James Gunn was like. Also, some serial killers as well. James Gunn Buffalo Bill is based on a couple of serial killers, of course. but we'll just say the main ones: Ted Bundy, Ed Gein, and Gary Heidnik, who used to kidnap women and do all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
And of course,
I always had a feeling. I always had some weird kind of thing that he had like an affiliation with John Wayne Gacy, but that's actually nice to. Well, I don't mean it's nice to hear, but it's actually
I know what you mean.
Yeah, something that I didn't know. Yeah, that's cool for me.
So, I mean, to think that, I mean, you've got to think of it as well. 1990, 91, or whatever. All that serial killer stuff is really just hitting at that stage. I remember in those days reading about, like, one of my aunts had a true crime, magazine. And
I remember those books. Remember, you'd get them. They used to come free sometimes with like the Sunday World or something, and they'd be like a little tiny little book, paperback.
Well, so like I was reading about some kind of serial killers from that at that time, and I remember hearing about these guys, but seeing how Buffalo Bill is portrayed, it's one of the top kind of killer performances, I would say, that I've seen. Now, of course, Anthony Hopkins, we will talk about him further on in the show, but I just wanted to give a special mention to Buffalo Bill. I just thought, absolutely top notch as a villain.
Yeah, and like very, very real. Like even the scene where like he's asking your one, "I need help with my couch."
Are you at size 16?
Yeah, and then boom, like very, it's what you don't see, but it's very dark, man. Very fucking dark.
Yeah,
but very real. You know what I mean? Like this is the killer that's real here. Like this isn't, Jason coming out of the swamp kind of deal.
And again, the one word you'll find running through our show every week is atmosphere. It's an atmospheric journey.
It's a terrifying journey, to be fair. I don't know how it's not classed as a horror, to be honest with you, because this is the movie I think that literally, if I'm being honest, that literally terrified me the most, especially when we get to the end, but we will get to that.
Yeah.
It is a thriller, but it is also a horrific thriller.
A horrific thriller, very well put.
You know what I mean? I think when we start to kind of see Clarice getting involved in this case, and you can see her, like she's trying to make a name for herself here in this whole deal, and it's fresh in your mind, so it would be apropos for you to kind of guide us through when she first kind of understands and learns of Hannibal Lecter himself.
I mean, of course, Dr. Lecter. Jack Crawford, of course, he has handpicked Dr. Lecter. Yeah, her voice in this. Go ahead now. She's like Jim Ross's daughter or something,
I have to do the side of me mouth to do it.
Shut my mouth. Sorry, Jim Ross. We love Jim Ross. Anyway, of course, Jack Crawford has handpicked her for this job, and it's basically, I mean, he knows that Lecter's gonna know why he brought a young girl in there, rookie, and it's a mind game between Lecter and Crawford. Of course, he brings in, as you said, a rookie, and Hannibal Lecter's, he balks at the idea that he sent in a rookie to talk to me, and the back of, she's such a strong woman, female character. She has to be one of the strongest female characters in Hollywood, in movies. Absolutely.
I would agree with that.
So strong and so determined, and not put off by Hannibal Lecter. I mean, let's talk about the first time she meets Hannibal Lecter. That has to be one of the most chilling introductions to a character in movie history ever.
And I will say that as well. Like, he's standing there with his hands behind his back, and he just turns around, and without having to have any kind of makeup on, without having to have a scary face, listen, this is just, you mentioned that Anthony Hopkins is only in the movie for 16 minutes. There's a reason he steals the show.
Yeah.
Like, a true great like that doesn't need any more than that. You know what I mean? His whole presentation of this character is just spine tingling. I think that's the only word that I can actually use, because he's like, hello, Clarice. It's just so goddamn calm. It's calm, but the eyes are just constantly open. He doesn't blink. That's something you notice. He doesn't blink.
That's funny enough. He used that. That's actually a trait that he used from reptiles, because reptiles can blink when they want to, believe it or not. So he used that, that kind of trait from reptiles, and just to make it more cold, make it more, chilling. Absolutely spot on. Spot on.
Unbelievable. Like, and the back and forth between these two, like, I mean, it's so believable.
Yeah.
You believe it. And he's obviously trying to do a profile on her as she's trying to do a profile on him. And obviously he's one step ahead of her every time.
Always.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Always one step ahead of her. But at the same time, she's holding her own in this,
For a rookie, she does really, really well.
Unbelievable. And like, there's some kind of sick scenes in it, like, you know what I mean, when she's walking down towards Hannibal, and like Jesus, she gets
some man juice on her face.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
It's actually fucking disgusting. Yeah, as a kid, I didn't know what that was. They were just saying, it's sour cream, don't worry about it.
Sour cream probably was.
I was like,
mixed cream.
Doesn't look like that, but
she keeps it together during all that, and then when she gets out, she has a little cry at the car, and that's apparently the FBI agent that she was, kind of shadowing, told her that was what she would do if it got too much for her. She'd go out to her car, specifically her car, and not go into an hour at night, just stand at it and cry. So she used. I mean, what I love about this whole film is the FBI were so cooperative with the making of it.
Yeah.
Because they were looking at it as, we might get some, females in, more female officers in, or whatever. But the fact that they were so cooperative, made it more realistic, I think.
Yeah, because it did feel like a real, a very, very genuine kind of, I suppose, outlook on what daily life would have been in a case like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just thought, and obviously, with the whole kind of Hannibal trying to get kind of her background with the lambs, and how he's getting into her head, and her acting in this is just absolutely phenomenal. She's like he's taking her there and she doesn't even realize it. Like, do you know what I mean?
And when he starts slagging her accent and everything, doing her, your mommy and your daddy and all that kind of stuff.
That's mommy and a daddy.
Really getting to her, but she holds her own. She gets the first kind of bit of interactions with him out of the way, because they're obviously going to try and ask him to help locate Buffalo Bill, who's the main killer. He's the main antagonist in this, not Hannibal.
That's it. It's to get a profile on Buffalo Bill. I mean, he's profiling her, but the whole thing is to get a profile on Buffalo Bill, and obviously he does start getting a profile on Buffalo Bill. As I said, we're not doing a step by step of the movie, but when he starts kind of talking about it, and he gives her the location,
little clues all the time
of his own storage locker, and she breaks into that, and you see the bits and like that the cops don't even know about. Basically, I think I'm right in saying, like the bits of brain and everything in there,
and a severed head in there, and I think Bill had the rest of the body or something like that. But it's like, even seeing that kind of stuff, it's very dark, and fun fact, I think the head looks like Sylvester Stallone if you look at it.
Well, he wouldn't have been getting him.
No, he wouldn't. No way.
But
I have to say, it was like Jonathan Demme is the producer, and I'm presuming they're based on books by a chap called Thomas Harris.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to get involved in any way, but he wished them all well, which is that's all you can ask for, really, isn't it? Because I've seen the likes of films like The Watchmen, and Alan Moore just totally distanced himself from the film. Wouldn't even like give it his blessing. He was so disgusted with it. So
well, same with John Carpenter and the Halloween stuff, but that's rightly so. I think
absolutely.
No disrespect to Rob Zombie. I think he's a great director in his own right. But
just making your own films.
Yeah, and his own films were successful. You
Yes.
know what I mean? So, you know what I mean. But I think the more we get into this, I mean, one thing that stood out for me in this movie is obviously when Lecter's getting transferred. You know what I mean? He goes, I want to see the sky. I want to see the sea. I want to be able to see out a window. I want a view, you know? And it's, Jesus, I was better at doing that than I thought. But it's just, it's like you see, it's almost like there's a human element in there. And you're going, shit, this is what he wants, you know what I mean? So he wants to get out of this little hellhole that he's fucking...
Or could he just be, again, playing everybody?
Oh, well, that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he doesn't give a fuck about a view or a window. He's like, he sees this as an opportunity. And good Lord, why don't you talk about Carl?
The opportunity.
He does get it. Oh my God.
So
he makes art out of this human being. Like.
Oh, I mean, he's talking to the Dr. Chilton, or the Dr. Chilton's talking to him there, and
he's such a little weasel bastard in it as well, isn't he? Like
little doorbag he is, But he goes and makes it. We're skipping through a lot of the film. I'm sure people will watch it. As you said, Ian, we're not doing a synopsis. We're not doing shot by shot.
No.
So anyway, we're at the
30-minute episode. You can't do a whole rundown of the movie yet.
You get to a point where Chilton makes his own deal with the governor whose daughter is missing. That's the girl who is in Buffalo Bill's place that we see in the film, right? So she organizes a meetup with Hannibal. He's in the infamous mask and the stretcher thing. And he starts talking normally to her until he starts kind of saying stuff about the daughter. And he just, whatever way he's able to get it's like a pen or a clip. And he gets it into, I don't know how, but he gets it in his mouth. This man's a genius. And he's also, believe it or not, he's very strong. He has great physical strength, even though he doesn't look like it. So just that'll come into play later, right? So
natural, wiry kind of strength. Exactly.
Yeah, right. So of course that whole thing goes haywire. So he has to go back to he's going to the hole in the kind of cage where they have him, and the two cops are kind of nice to him. But when he goes in, when they go in to feed him, then later on in the cage, he's able to unlock his handcuffs and just smooth as you like.
What about his face when he's doing it? And he's just like,
it's just.
It's all the visual with Anthony Hopkins in this.
It's those eyes.
I think it's one of the best performances of all time, personally.
Of all time.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
And of course, don't forget, he wasn't the first one to play Hannibal Lecter. Brian Cox was Hannibal Lecter in Manhunter. And I mean, up until that point, he was a perfectly fine Hannibal Lecter, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
This is probably my favorite part of Lecter is when you see him and he's all in white, and that was done on purpose because Lecter thought Hopkins thought people's fear of doctors and dentists would make him all in white look more intimidating. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So
and when he starts slashing. Like his face, and this is the great thing, his facial expression doesn't change. It's like in his mind, it reminds me of the artist with the brush.
Yeah, that's it.
It's like
he's just wailing away on your man with the billy club, and he's just smashing his face in. And
do you remember the bits of blood coming on? He's like,
it's amazing.
It's so aggressive, but like not
refined aggression.
I think the only thing that I've ever seen, like in a movie where it looked as real someone baiting the bollocks out of someone, like by just looking at their facial expression, was Goodfellas with Robert De Niro when he's kicking the guy on the. Remember, he's kicking the guy on the ground, and you see Robert De Niro's mouth going like that.
Yeah.
Like, for anyone that's out there watching that, I guarantee you we're going to get a comment on that. Go back and watch that scene when De Niro is going like that. Like, he has his tongue, like as if it's 100% concentration.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, and all you see is the boo, you know. And I think this is the exact same with Anthony Hopkins. You're just looking at his face while he's absolutely bludgeoning this guy to
a mess. And of course, he gets I don't know how he does it in such a quick space of time, where he basically cuts your man's face off, covers him up, puts the other fella up in the fucking vents in the lift, and then fecks off. He puts your man's face on his and goes out as one of the injured cops.
Venom.
Yeah, he's like Venom, yeah. But he goes out, and then, of course, you see the medic fella talking on the radio, and he just sits up and pulls the skin off, and it's Hannibal Lecter.
Jeez, what a fucking scene.
Amazing 10, 15 minutes or whatever of cinema. Absolutely brilliant.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So that's him gone out of the film.
Oh, that's it.
He's gone. So yeah, your award winner's gone now, you know what I mean? So now you've got to deal with Buffalo Bill.
And good Lord, another award winner comes in on this too, in Clarice, and she absolutely steals the show here from the rest of the movie. I don't know whether she steals the show from Hannibal, but I would, you know what?
She's as good as, if not
she's
better.
as good as in different ways. I mean, good Lord, for her to be, you know, the baby face in this, like to be the good girl, and kind of the
and you can see that she's still in training. Sorry for cutting across you there.
No, you're right.
You can see that she's still not fully 100% graduated. You can actually, the way she portrays the character is fantastic. You can see there's a hint of trepidation. There's a hint of
vulnerability.
Yeah. And it's just, you know, like, I mean, at that final confrontation with Buffalo Bill, like, it's just a reaction. She's just lucky that she reacted before him.
I wanted to say that when they go, like, I mean, this is amazing story writing, actually, when it comes to whether they think they have the right house or not. The whole FBI think that they have the fucking house, and it turns out it's not. It's empty as fuck. Whereas Clarice has obviously got the information from Hannibal.
Yeah.
And she's kind of, well, the information that she's kind of accrued from Hannibal has led her here, and she's basically calling it in. This is where we are. So they kind of know where to go. Then they're like, shit, we got to go and get Clarice. And she has the balls and the stones to go in anyway.
Yes.
And this whole deal, man, this is what I meant about, still to this day, one of the most terrifying scenes in movie history, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Because obviously he switches the lights out eventually. You know, this motherfucker's down there. It goes to him because he's like a wolf down there, isn't he?
Oh, he's cool.
And you're kind of going, oh shit. Because I was always a Hannibal fan. I know that sounds weird.
No, I get you.
I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
Oh, yeah.
Let's get this weirdo.
Yeah.
You know?
I love Hannibal, obviously, but I was always more fascinated by Buffalo Bill.
Well, that's because, as you said, it's the protagonist of the movie. But let's go to that scene then when the lights go out. Is that not one of the most terrifying things ever?
Oh, absolutely.
Purely because of how Jodie Foster is acting it as well. Yeah. And you can hear every breath.
And she's afraid.
Oh my God, like the fear resonates.
And just when he goes to touch her hair and all, and it's just like, oh, quick.
You're like, oh my, this is it. This is it. Like, it's over. And, you know, she ends up getting him kind of almost by luck.
Yeah. Just, as I said, reflex and bang. You know?
Which brings you back to the start of the film, is that she was a great shot and her training was great.
Yeah.
But this is on-field training now. And this is real life. And you're like,
I mean,
oh,
you're talking about a major serial killer here that she's gone up against.
yeah,
And I mean, not that it makes a difference, but the size of the gun that he bleeding had, you
yeah,
know, compared to her little handgun, you know, like when he had a handgun, but it was like a big kind of Dirty Harry type thing, you know. And but she was just so lucky to get him. Another thing that we skipped over, and that was probably my fault because I'm getting too overexcited about the bloody thing. The little death heads moths,
yes,
very symbolic in the film, of course,
yeah,
and that was what gave it away for Clarice when she was in James Gunn's gaff and she saw the little death's head moth flying around.
yeah,
And that's what then she knew she was with him, you know, and she
yeah.
was again, like you say, it was breathtaking. I was again watching it only today, and I know knowing exactly what's going to happen, and I'm still like, not afraid, nothing like that, but just like, oh, quick, watch out, watch out. You know, I
Yeah,
was
I mean,
just
anxiety more
yeah,
so. You're like,
so
yeah,
happy watching it, like you know, like as in it's enjoyment, you know, knowing how I'm gonna feel, you know, brilliant.
yeah. I mean, sometimes you want to be scared and you want to get to that moment, but you want to be on the journey. And
Yeah,
I think that's the whole premise of this show. For example, for people that want to watch this show, it's like
yeah,
taking you on the journey just to give you a bit of nostalgia, a little bit, and then maybe go back and watch it yourself, or even to put it in your head of going, I am
yeah,
gonna get around to watching this. I'm
yeah,
gonna get around to watching it, and it's one of those movies, man. Like because obviously she gets the nod at the end, and she gets the approval. Basically, she gets
yeah.
the Medal of Honor kind of deal going on, and
And the graduation at that as well. So she
yeah,
gets it all.
absolutely.
She's one of the top of them. But
And then
isn't
she gets the call.
yes from himself? Which I was just gonna say, isn't that one of the coolest endings to a film? Just him walking off, and every time I watch that film,
Blending into society, yeah.
oh, like a chameleon, man, it's amazing. But every time, even today, like so I've done this since I was a kid. You see him walking off, and I try and look and see how far away I can. Like I just try and keep focusing on him. It's just something I've always done with that film, and even
Yeah,
did it today. You know, so
it's because the camera zooms out and you're kind of going,
yeah,
there he is,
and
and you're
and the music and all, and like there's another thing. The guy who made the film was Howard Shore. It's a fantastic soundtrack, you know,
yeah, it
and
is.
just again,
Runaway
music.
Horses obviously is the team that
Well,
people would
that's the one from
remember. Would be
the
fuckery.
dancing scene. Yeah, we're gonna fuck me.
Children
I'll fuck me.
are for yeah.
Oh, what a brilliant!
Lonely.
Well, I'm going. Do you
Good
know
God.
what? I'm going to tell you some fun facts now, if you want,
Yes.
if you like. And I have my little list here, right?
Yeah.
And of course, Silence of the Lambs was the third film to win the Big Five Oscars. All right. I can't remember the first one, but One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was another one, and then it was that one.
Fair.
So you're talking about best picture, actor, actress, director, a screenplay. So like I don't know. I don't know if there's any other films that have done that since. I'm sure if there is, someone will tell us. But like we're not looking at other films. We're looking at this. So you know.
Yeah.
So well, I think I've said earlier on. Michelle Pfeiffer was originally desired to play Clarice, but uh, she wasn't too hot on how dark the role was. So um, uh, Jodie Foster got it in the end, and I'm glad she did because as much as Michelle Pfeiffer is a good actress, she would not have. Now, when you know what you know now, and you see her other performances in other films, as in Michelle's, I still think Jodie Foster would have been the right choice. You know,
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
absolutely. So, do you know who the? I guess see if you know this one. Do you know who the first choice for Hannibal Lecter was?
No.
Sean Connery.
Oh, good Lord.
And he turned it down
Well,
because he thought that the script was revolting. And I'm glad he
Oh,
did.
he did, yes.
I ate his liver with some nice Chianti and his fava beans. Imagine.
Exactly. I gotta say, it's not really my scene.
Hello, Clarice. It's good to see you.
Clarice. It's good to see
So thankfully he didn't get it. Well, he didn't want it. So, of course.
What does Sean Connery do after finishing a bit of DIY?
Go on.
He takes a step back and he says to himself, "I'm very proud of myself."
Oh,
It's a dad joke.
dad jokes. We should do a whole episode of dad jokes. No, we're not. I'm joking.
Never.
Here's another cool thing about Hopkins. He, for the voice of Hannibal Lecter, he used Truman Capote and Katharine Hepburn as the influences to get that voice, which is an interesting mix. If you listen to the two of them, you're like, oh, Jesus, yeah. And he also used, HAL, the computer from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you can hear and see that as well. I think if HAL was a person, it'd be Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Like, what else do we have? Ted Levine, who's Buffalo Bill, when he did that dance scene, the "Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me." That wasn't meant to be. That wasn't in the screenplay, but it was in the book, and he fought to get that into the actual film. And then he had to take. He was saying apparently he had to load up on tequila before he did it because he's in the buff, man. And he's not. I don't.
All in.
Yeah. Oh well, he tucks it in, doesn't he? Of course, dirty fecker. Like. So as I was saying, Lecter's only on screen for 16 minutes, and there's only one other person that was on screen for less that won an Oscar, and that's David Niven, and that was for. I can't remember the film, but it was like 15 minutes or something like that. 15 and a half minutes. So, I mean, that's to be able to win an Oscar for that short of a time of a performance is amazing when you think about it, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and of course, it made $272.7 million in the box office. So that's not a bad chunk of change.
Didn't do too bad.
No. So and of course, Jonathan Demme, fair play to him for the making and the way he made it as well. So without that vision, we probably would have got another film like Manhunter, which it wasn't bad, but wasn't this.
No.
So
definitely.
There's my nerdy little tidbits for you.
I like that.
Just something,
No, that's it. Like, and like, to be fair, it's great when you go back and watch these movies. As I said, like, our kind of aim for this is to kind of give people a little bit of nostalgia and to give our own nostalgia and our own kind of viewpoints on how we saw the film. I would, I suppose now it comes to the time if you were to give it the On the Slab rating.
Right. Okay. It's a very hard one to rate in a sense of.
I hate rating things anyway. This is your idea. So.
I don't. Well, I'm going to give it. Well, when I like a film, I love a film, and I'll defend it to the end. I'm going to give it 4.5 slabs of meat.
I'm going to give it 5.5 slabs.
5.5.
Even though there is only 5.
You're going to cut a pound of flesh off yourself.
Yeah, for the movie that it is, like, it's hard to fault it. You know what I mean? There's nothing in it that doesn't make sense. There's nothing in it that, like, you kind of go, oh, well, that shouldn't have happened, or that's hokey. It's so difficult not to. I'd say even realistically, you're trying to be nice there and you're trying to not just give it 5. I would say you would give it 5 100%.
Yeah, I probably would, actually. So,
you know what I mean? Like, there is literally nothing wrong with this movie.
No.
It's crazy.
And it's the perfect running time as well. It was like, I thought it was a longer film than it was. It was like an hour and 58 or something like that. And I was just like, that's perfect, like, So, yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll go with a 5. If you go with a 5, I'll go with a 5.
Yeah, I'll go with a 5.
Forget about your extra sliver of meat.
I was just trying to bring you up to a 5 with the extra sliver there. It was going to be practical, but that's all right. We got you to where we needed to
Yes.
be.
So, Silence
No,
of the
that's
Lambs on the slab with 5 slabs of meat as a rating for us. And I mean,
yeah,
it's the perfect way to rate that film. And I think it's the perfect way to end tonight's show.
absolutely. And if you've enjoyed the show, please do like and subscribe, and basically give us all the love on the Dynamo Podcast Network. And we have everything that you need from sports to this. To
Whatever this
wrestling
is.
as well. To this, what we're doing right now, we're throwing slabs of meat around.
At each other in a minute.
Absolutely. And so I think please give us a like and a subscribe on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Hit the bell notification for notifications anytime a video of interest will pop up for you. And please do comment on our shows, because it's going to help us get feedback and also build a relationship with you guys and girls out there. So I think it's an opportune time to tell them what we've got for them next week, and it is my turn next week. And just to give you a little bit of an idea behind this, it does involve a shark, and it is from the year 1975 and not the modern shit. So until next week, I've been in the Dynamo Kelly.
And I've been King Woe.
King Woe.
And we are on the slab, and we are out of here. Adios. Hang on now.